I think 99.999% of people are built to serve.
You're about to meet the 0.001%.
Sometimes it's in serving that we find ourselves.
Still lost.
There's a tiny, tiny percentage of people who enjoy killing people.
I wasn't trying to kill her.
Your happiest, most proud moments of all time, they involve somebody else.
Much to their dismay.
You try to make the lives of other people better. That's the best possible thing that you can do for yourself.
I'm gonna push back on that. Let me tell you about the time I got fired as a volunteer in a major hospital's cancer unit. I moved temporarily to Charlotte, North Carolina a couple years ago. I pack very light. I bring just me and my depression. And when I'm there, I feel horrible. So I see one of these videos and I read one of these books. We've all read one of these books to help yourself, help others. And I fell for it. So I decided I'm going to go volunteer at the hospital. To become a volunteer at a hospital, there are fewer steps to become a Navy SEAL. They give you a personality test and then you have to take the SAT again. And then they deworm you and they deskunk you and they give you a rabies shot. Then you have to learn the hospital codes and the emergency procedures and the HIPAA rules. When I started, it was me, my depression, and 50 other people. And most of those were college girls who still had light in their eyes and they're gonna save the world. At the end of all that training, there's half of us left. Only so many soldiers still standing. And then you have to pick your assignment. And everybody wants the nursery, and everybody wants labor and delivery, and everybody wants the gift shop and the flower shop. And there is one unit in the hospital that nobody signs up for. Can you guess what that is? The infusion room. Nobody signs up for that. And I said, Coach, put me in. And I show up on my first day of volunteering and I've got my little name badge and I open the door to the infusion room and it is a solemn place. There are people hooked up to machines for hours on end who have cancer and all sorts of things, and they are getting pumped full of toxic chemicals that somehow fight the other toxic thing that's in their body. I do not know how that works. But they are just sitting there, and some of them have caregivers, but most of them are by themselves. And I thought, this is perfect for me. I'm going to bless these people with the ministry of my presence. I have a lot of stories to tell. Here we go. So I go bed to bed to bed and I relieve the caregivers, and then the folks that are just sitting there, I just talk to them and I just dazzle them with all of my stories for hours on end. And then when they get hungry or thirsty, I go over to the little mini bar. And healthcare workers, I have a question for you. Why, when you are fighting for your life, the best the hospital can do is give you an apple juice or an orange juice that's in the equivalent of a little tiny human dog bowl, this plastic, flimsy, cheap little dish that has an even cheaper, thinner, flimsier layer of aluminum foil on top. My God, can you just give these people a proper carton? On my third week of volunteering, I'm sitting with a woman. She is 800 years old. She has cancer. She is very frail. And I am in the midst of the most wonderful story. And she takes her hand and she puts it on my arm and she says, baby, I thought it was going to be this cancer that killed me, but it might be you. Ma'am, she says, you are exhausting me. And the nurses and the staff in the infusion room come over and circle around me and they whisk me off to the side and they said, hey, these people, they are very sick. Yeah, they feel terrible. And everyone really likes you. They do. But you have a lot of energy and they are just not prepared for your 3-hour-long monologues. This might not be the best unit in the hospital for you to volunteer in. Yeah, so let's just consider this your last day. And I thought, you might be right. I need a different kind of captive audience. I'm going to volunteer in the prison.